Hello everyone, welcome to Shiny Colors Fine Art classes. This is Rashmi here and today we are talking about 10 important things to start a watercolor. This video is in two parts. One is the material part and the other is the technique part. So in the material I'll tell you what minimum material you should have to start a watercolor, and in the technique part I'll tell you what minimum techniques you know to achieve a watercolor. So let's start the lesson. So the first part of the material is colors. Colors has to be artist grade. If you are in India and if you are beginners, you can start with Camel artist grade colors and upgrade them with Mission Gold or Winsor and Newton artist grade colors. And if you are out of India, you can start with Winsor and Newton Cotman series and then upgrade them with the artist grade colors. I have mixed palette. Some of the colors I like from Winsor and Newton, some of the colors I like from Mission Gold, and some of the color I like from Camel artist grade. So it's up to you which brand you want and which is suitable to your budget also. The second important part of the material is brushes. Brushes are our tools, so they have to be good. Brushes should be soft and capable to hold lot of water and colors. At the same time, it should have a nice tip so that you can give details also at the same time, and you don't need to dip again and again into the colors and water. I'll tell you what brushes I am using. I use Escoda 18 number mauve brush, plus I use Art Essential 2 number, 0 number and 10 by 0 number mauve brushes for small detailing. Then I use Princeton 12 number brush that has a nice tip. You can give nice detail while you paint. Plus for the minor detail I use 0 number Escoda rigger brushes plus 0 number bob brush rigger brush. Plus I use 2 inches Hake brush that I use for the bigger paper. The third and very important part of material is paper. Paper has a big role in your painting. It has to be 100% cotton. There are two types of paper. One is fine grain, the other is rough grain. I personally like rough grain paper because it holds lot of colors and water and doesn't look flat at the end of the painting. I use Arches and Lanaqualle. Both are 300 GSM and 100% cotton. I chose rough grain for my painting. Plus I use Indian handmade paper, that is Chitrapat, that is also 100% cotton, and it has a very nice rough grain and gives you a very nice effect. And if you are in India and if you are a beginner, you can definitely start with Chitrapat paper. It is very good paper. And if you are out of India, you can choose any paper that is 100% cotton and doesn't have cellulose in that. The fourth important part of the materials are some essentials you can't avoid, like you need a board and a masking tape to stick your paper on the board, and you need 2 water bowls and some kitchen rolls, tissue rolls to clean up the mess. The last and not least, masking fluid. Masking fluid is a plastic paint. You need it for detailing your painting. Personally, I use the masking fluid but very less. Now I am comfortable leaving the space. So if you are comfortable leaving the space, you should not use, but there is some painting you cannot leave the space and you need a masking fluid. So I'll tell you a few of the example of my painting where you use and where you cannot, and where you can just leave the space. So in this painting there are many windows and it's hard to leave the space and painting. So I used the masking fluid. And if you see my next painting, that is bigger space. So in that painting I left the space because it's easy, you can leave and paint. So no need to use masking fluid. And in this painting, wherever the light glow is there, I left the space, but the reflection in the water, I used the gouache wash little bit. So now this is the second part of the video. This is a technique part. So let's work for the technique part. We have 5 things to understand for the technique. One is wet on wet. The other is how to handle the damp wet paper when it is getting dry, and the third is dry on wet, And the fourth is how to give a pre-wash. When you giving a second or third wash, there is a pre-wash required, and how we can handle that pre-wash. And the fourth and fifth important part is how to prevent your painting from patches. So this is very important part, otherwise the watercolor painting looks very patchy. So after we understand the material and the technical part, let's apply the all the technique and material. So see my video till end. I'll keep explaining these things during my demo. So before we start a bigger painting, let's understand the things with the smaller demo. These are my colors. I've used 5 colors that are there written on the top corner. Now before starting my demo, I'm sticking my paper on the board, on my board, and starting with the first wash. I'm using cobalt blue color for the first wash. So see, after the color gets over, I have to mix it with the water. So between blue and orange there should be water, otherwise the color will become gray. So we have to leave the space and mix with the water, and then we have to go ahead, and we should not go up again. Similar way we have to mix it on the bottom. Now I'm making a boat, a small boat. So I'm drawing directly. If you are comfortable directly, you can also draw directly, otherwise you can draw it before the pencil. Now I'm making the shadow, the reflection of the boat when it is wet only, and giving the details also on the board when it is wet only. So now the important things you have to remember, then when you work on the damp wet paper, when it's not 100% dry, then that time your brush should have lot of color and less water. So this is the trick. If you use water, then it will again give you a cauliflower effect. But if you are giving detail on the damp wet paper, then if the color is more, your paper will look good. Now for these minor detail, I am using my rigger brush, thin rigger brush, making the poles and strings. Now by that time I am making, my paper is all damp wet, it's not 100% dry. So I am making the little detailing on the ship or on the boat, small windows, and making the reflection at the same place. So let's start the painting. So I am drawing. I'll quickly draw. There is not a lot to draw here. I am just treating all the ships like one object, and I have drawn the space. Now I'm making the sky. So for the sky, what I have done, I keep my paper upside down. So you can see this, I am making a sky, not water. So I kept my paper upside down and I am making the sky. First orange and then cobalt blue. Now I turned my paper and now I am making the water. So my paper is now dried, fully dried, and I am just coloring all the ships blue in color because of the evening. I can't see white color, though they are white, but they can't look like white color because of the darkness. Now I'm using the yellow color and orange color for the water, so the reflection will be same because it's water, and it has to be same, otherwise it won't look good. So after orange I used little bit purplish color to just get the lighter part of the water, and then I'm using cobalt blue. So same like my other paintings, in this painting also I used very limited palette. I used cobalt blue, orange, little bit yellow, and a little crimson. That's all I use. As I told in my previous videos also, I use very limited palette and mix my own colors if required. So in this painting also, only 3-4 colors I am using. Now after that blue, I am using blue, little bit mixed with the black, or you can use gray color to give the dark effects. Now see, this part I am giving wet on wet. My paper is not dry yet, and I am giving the water ripples and water waves here. If it is dry, then you can't see those smooth and soft edges. The edges will be very hard, and that I don't want. So this time I'm using wet on wet technique. So now I'm using orange mixed with little blue color for those back buildings. Those are seen there. And because of the sun glow, the buildings are looking little brownish and orangish. The buildings are very far, so they will look small also. And I'm giving small details that are there on the far back. These details I am doing when my paper is dry, because we don't want a very blurry effect this time. Now I am giving that small building that is there in the far back. So I made my paper wet because those windows, those pillars are quite blurry. So my paper is little wet. I have given a pre-wash, and then I applied the dark color. So now I will directly draw those ships, because I did not draw in the beginning all the details. I had just made all the ships in one line, and I told you, no, I made them as a one object. Now I am drawing them, and first I am making the reflection in the water. So the ripples and waves of the water, so when they are far, they will be quite thin. As we see nearer, the waves looks little bigger. Now see, I'm drawing those ships, and I'm drawing directly with the brush. So if you are not comfortable drawing directly, after your paper dries, you can draw first with the pencil, and then you can give detail with the colors. So when you are learning, when you are starting, then it's always good to draw first and then you color it. So you will minimize the errors that will be there while painting. Under the ships, the shadow is very dark, so I'm giving the dark effect. Because of the shade of the ships, the water will look very dark. So I'm using the same blue color mixed with gray or mixed with black. Any color is fine. If you have gray, you mix gray, otherwise you can mix black also. Little bit black will work very well. Slowly you can see the ship size will increase. As the ship is coming nearer, it is bigger, and as the ship is far placed, they are small. So you have to remember that perspective effect here. I'm applying a dark color with my thin brush and giving small details. The detail should not be exact that is there in the reference picture, but it should look like windows and some happening is there in the background. So we have to give an illusion for the details, and especially the windows, and bigger details you can keep and the smaller details you can just put some lines and dots will help. So in the background those lines are there that I'm making, small lines, small poles, lines, wires, those are there. And there are two big ships here, so in the front, so those are also I'm making. Here I am giving again the values so that we can see the darkness of the evening. So all the ship details I had given while the paper is dry. Somewhere where I want the soft edges, I applied a water and then I give the details. So the pre-wash is very important to give that soft edges effect. And where you want the hard edge, you don't want the blurry effect, then that time the paper should be dry. So that time you should not apply water. Small details, because this ship is nearby, so you can give small details as well. And again, see, I applied one more wash because the ship is little more darker. So apply wash, and then I am making the reflection of the ship in the water. Now see, I'm making those poles, so I am applying the color in the scale so that my lines will come straight, and that's how I am doing the poles. After applying uh, the line, then I am just nearer poles I am making dark, and the far poles will be little lighter. And see, I'm making the reflection just under the pole. So make the water reflection once you are done with all the poles. So right now I'm just leaving this much and finish all the poles. After that we will do the reflection. So at the end of the reflection you have to give the watery effect, the wavy effect. So I am applying that dark color, same blue, cobalt blue mixed with black, and applying the dark color. One more thing you have to remember, that if we are making the reflection, our reflection has to be just opposite of the ship shapes, because obviously if we go beyond the shape, then it will not look the mirror reflection. So you have to just remember that your reflection should be just exactly same how your shape is of the ship. And again at the end we have to give that wavy effect. So now I am making that pole reflection in the water. And those are the bigger logs, those are there in the water to hold those ships string and all. So I'm making the reflection of those logs also. So just carefully when you make the reflection has to come wherever you make those poles or strings and the ship. There only you have to make the reflection. You cannot make just here and there. Okay, this thing you have to remember. So I'm finishing all my reflection detail, small detail, and my painting is almost finishing. See how beautiful this painting came. See the water effect. So nicely and so natural. With the limited palette, we could get so nice effect. There is no any exclusive colors, all colors that we get it in the set. Simple minimum colors. Thank you for watching, my friends. If you like my video, please press the like button and subscribe my channel. Do not forget to keep the bell icon on so that you will get notified for my future videos. Thank you for watching, my friends. Bye bye.